Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 182 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline. It's web design, SEO, Google Ads, graphic design, printing. We even have some new AI products now, AI receptionists, AI web chats. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, which is bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free review of your online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a black belt training out of Coral Springs, Florida. Don't forget to like, comment, save, share, click the subscribe button. We appreciate all of your support. Joining us today is returning guest Scott Burr. He's a black belt and co-author of Lessons from the Mat, the 12 martial arts principles that will help you succeed in business and in life. We recently had his co-author, Benjamin Chen, on the podcast. A couple of quick shout-outs, and then we'll bring Scott in. Ben, take it away. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Ben Stark. I'm a third-degree black belt under American.
The Ben Stark.
The
Ben Stark. I got to remind everybody.
You guys might know my uncle. His name's Tony, a.k.a. Iron Man, but we'll get to that later. I'm a third-degree black belt training out of and owning American Top Team Palm Beach Gardens. If you're in the North Palm Beach area and you're looking for the most badass training facility around, check us out, ATTPBG, on both Instagram and .com. On top of that, if you are a competitor, whether it is jiu-jitsu, judo, mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, combat sports in general, you will need athletic tape when it comes time. Might as well get it from one of your own, a local, a normal person, someone who is not gouging you on prices like the big brands. Go to fighttape.us, get the best gauze and tape available on the market. And if you're bougie and you want to say your name, we will white label it for you. So if you are that guy, we got you. Fighttape.us, check it out.
You're awesome. At MMA Coach Ben.
That's me.
On Instagram. Great follow.
Thank you.
We are also brought to you by Academy Safe.
Good
I was
Lord.
at the IBJJF in Las Vegas this past weekend with the Flow and Roll. Got to hang out in the booth, talked to a lot of people about Academy Safe. For those of you who don't know, basically people are calling us the background check guys. And I like that.
Hey.
Our main item is doing background checks on owners and coaches. And then we've created a registry of good academies. So you can go to our website at academysafe.org. And if you're a coach or if you're just a coach and you want to sign up, you can become a member. Mm-hmm. We'll list your academy, but it'll show that you're not accredited or, that your owner hasn't signed up yet. But if you're an owner, you can get everybody signed up. Most of the owners that we have in the system have paid for their
I would say
students.
This. I was a freelance coach for a long time. I taught at 3, 4, 5 different gyms. If that's you, getting accredited is something great to add
certified.
To your certified.
So we say, right, a coach will get everything, will certify them and check all their documentation, their lineage. Again, if it's just a coach, we're doing, CPR, first aid. We're making sure they have everything. They don't need to have an AED. They don't need to have a security camera, and they don't need the business insurance, right? But they can do all the other things: safe sport, concussion training, background check, lineage check, and then have your first aid certification, first aid, CPR, and AED certifications. Yep. The owner needs to also have the security cameras, AED, and the business insurance, right? So we're certifying that they have that information, and then once an academy has all of their stuff, every coach has everything in, then they get accredited. So that's like the difference.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So if you are a certified coach, you have to understand that brings value to your resume as well. When you go in for that job, if you're freelancing and jumping around, I'm a great coach, but I'm also first aid certified, CPR certified, AED certified, and background check proven safe.
Yeah.
That it's going to give you a lot more leeway.
Absolutely. And you only have to, if you're a coach at multiple academies, you only have to do it once. Mm-hmm. We'll carry it over. If you have 10 academies that you work at, we'll show you listed on each of those academies. We're not charging you a membership for each one.
As a gym owner, I've only really been pushing it the last month and a half. I kind of settled in with it. How do I add this into my tour and stuff? But when I get, especially parents come in, it's one of the first things I like to tell them as we're kind of getting our information sorted out. Yeah. And the amount of times I've seen a parent go, "What?" Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So most of the time they're just interested in times and price.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we let them know everyone's background checked, certified, etc. And then you can see them they go blank face. I didn't even consider that. And some people will tell me, "Oh, I got other places to check." Hey, wherever you decide to settle down, please ask them and follow up. Make sure that your coaches are background checked. Yep. And then you can see them.
They didn't think to ask that question
at all.
For people that have aftercare programs, just so that people know, right? The school is responsible for your child up until they put them in that van that takes them to the. Mm-hmm. They don't. that most schools I know down here in Florida, they're not checking. The school doesn't background check the person that's coming to pick up the kid. They're like,
yeah,
we're done. They run the van. Your parents are responsible for the right. So again, you can check us out at academysafe.org. Check out, just check out the website. There's plenty of information about what we're doing. If you want to register your academy, click on register my academy. If you are somebody looking for an academy, just find there's the find an academy link. We're trying to get as much coverage as possible. We have close to 200 coaches total. We have a deal. We're working with UCLA, getting all of their people signed on. We're covering Canada as well, and we have something going on with a company or an association in Germany, of all places, who has affiliates here but wants us to carry this over into Germany. So we're talking to them. We may actually go to Abu Dhabi next August to their world event. I don't want to. Really? I don't think I've said who it is on air. I don't want to say it just yet. But again, check us out at academysafe.org. Check out, you can see all the information there. If you want to sign up, use code JJD5 FIVE at checkout. You get about $5 off your membership. It's not a lot. It's $99 for a coach and $75 for an academy. $99 for an academy owner and $75 for each coach. That's an annual fee. We keep track of everything for the coach, so you don't have to do anything but get them on the site and get them signed up. I was out there with Flow and Roll. Thank you to Flow and Roll for being so warm and inviting. Got my new Flow and Roll mug. They are hands down the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. Visit them on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out the custom designs that they've created for academies and competitors across the country. Gym owners, ask them about their pre-order program. It's amazing. Get in. You can get all of your gi and get all stocked up for very little money out of pocket. They put it on the website. Your students can order it. They place the order once they've got some money in for you, and then you can have them ship the gear right to your academy, and you can use the profits to buy more gear for your gym, or they'll send you the balance. You actually make the money same as if you would have sold it yourself. Awesome. So it's a way of helping an academy, especially a new academy, get custom gear without 5, 10, 15 grand out of pocket to load up for the year. On your online orders, go to flowandroll.com and get 20% off with code JJD. Last thing, I'm adding this in today. So I got your happiness equation hat on. Shout out to our friend Leighton Campbell, who's the author of this book. The reason that I am showing it is because as of right now, the next 130 plus books that they sell, they're going to send the profits to survivors to help out with Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica that kind of ripped through the island in 2025. So very cool. If you haven't seen the book, Your Happiness Equation, is very cool. There's an audio book as well. But again, the profits from this book for the next 130, which actually gets him over a break point, I think, to some kind of award. He hasn't really said exactly what it is, but you could check him out on Instagram. Just type in Happiness Equation. You'll find him. And again, check out the book. I've read this. I've read the book and listened to the audio book. It's amazing and super helpful. That is it. Thank you for being patient, Scott. Welcome. For some technical issues and all of our reads. So I appreciate you, man. How you been?
I've been all right. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's been a while. It's been, has it been a couple years already since we spoke?
I think it's been about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke, Richard Bresler was in the hospital. I don't know if you want to talk about that. He passed this past year. Amazing guy, brought a lot to jiu-jitsu, and we also know that I'll let you talk and I'll show the book.
Well, yeah, obviously any of your listeners who don't know, Richard was instrumental in getting jiu-jitsu off the ground in the U.S. He was Torian's first student. He was his roommate. He financially backed the academy. He set up a bunch of the challenge matches. He backed the UFC. He was one of the first American black belts. Mm-hmm. He hit, a lifetime, 40 plus years in serving the art and helping to grow and spread the art. And I was lucky enough to collaborate with him on this book, Worth Defending. It's sort of the story of his life and what jiu-jitsu meant to him and that experience meant to him. And, his story is those, your listeners who've read it already know. He was a guy who was sort of in a lot of ways, the classic person who jiu-jitsu was really meant to serve. He was sort of always bullied as a kid, skinny, not very strong, kind kind of low self-esteem from that experience, and meeting Horian and meeting, the other brothers and being involved in this art changed his life. And he was always, evangelical about what the art could do for people. And unfortunately he got quite ill the end of 2024, kind of unexpectedly. He was, completely dedicated to his health and to jiu-jitsu, and unfortunately passed away in July. So yeah, we all miss him a lot, but we are all super motivated to keep spreading the word about his story and keep his legacy alive. For sure.
This is an honest statement. This is the first book. Worth Defending was the first book that I actually read cover to cover in my life.
Really?
I mean, there have been times that I've started books and I never finished, or in school skipping over chapters. This is the first book in my entire life that I started from the very beginning and read through to the very last page, because it pulled me in. I made a commitment to myself before he had come on the show that I was going to. It's like, I'm just going to read 10, 15 minutes, like, before I'm going to bed every night. And then I'd get hooked, and I was just like, I kind of like started reading it a little faster. But I've literally, like, I've started books and I put them down and I've never finished.
Thought.
And now, now with audiobooks, it's a little bit easier, but, honestly, since ever, I know
books
ever
have you just like stopped reading
now,
with
the exception of the little kiddie books that were like, the big pages with the pictures, Peter and the Wolf and stuff like that. I used to have a little, my mother got me a little turntable with you had the record and the corresponding book. Yeah, maybe those, but not a real book. So amazing. A huge fan. And I'm really excited there's so much that we could talk about. I'm really excited to hear about some of the other projects we touched on when you were on last time. I don't know. Now you've come out with a book with Ben Chen. We'll talk about that. But you did mention a couple of other books that you're working on. I don't know how much we could talk about them. I know you mentioned it here, and somebody had posed a question on one of the posts that I put out on the lead up. That I know that you've been working on a book with Chris Haueter for some time.
Yeah.
I know that's the one that I know that a lot of people are interested in that one. So let's start there.
How do we find ourselves in these situations or positions with these, like, I guess, like, would they be like American Jiu-Jitsu legends? They were like the first.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Haueter is part of the Dirty Dozen. Is that right?
Like, how do you cross paths in your training history? Like, how do you find yourself in the room with these guys?
Wait till we get to Rickson. He's training with Rickson.
I'm assuming Rickson is the path to everyone else because they're all Rickson black belts, right?
Yeah. If you're that makes you excited, wait till we get to start talking about his training with Rickson. But go ahead. Answer either one of those questions.
Well, the short version of the story is I didn't really know Richard. I had connected on Facebook. The way you do when you realize that these jiu-jitsu legends are just people with Facebook accounts. And then he made a post in late 2019. He said, I'm kind of talking about putting together a book of my story. People are telling me I should write a book. And at the time, I had spent 15 years trying to be a novelist. I was writing a lot of fiction, through that, I had gone down this path of learning how to independently publish stuff. And so not only the writing, but the editing and the formatting and the distributing and the promoting and all the things that go along with it. There are all of these platforms now that you can do that kind of accessibly. It doesn't require this huge outlay of cash. It just requires a lot of work. So I had all this experience producing books, both, the content and the book itself. And I had just closed the gym that I had been running for a couple different reasons, but I was sort of in this place of not being exactly sure what I was going to do. And I saw this post, Richard put out this post, I'm thinking about writing a book. And so I reached out and I said, look, man, I can do soup to nuts everything. I'm a black belt. I know who you are. I know some of the story, but and he, we started a conversation, and a couple months couple months later, I went out to LA. We got together, and we decided we were going to work together on this. And went through the process with him, and so put that book out. And through that, I already knew Chris. I had met Chris at there was a big seminar that Rickson taught in New York in 2017, and I met Chris there, and then we had him out to our school, and he taught a couple seminars at our spot. So I had, he'd come to Ohio and taught here. I'd gone out to LA and trained with him in the combat-based garage. So we were basically, we knew each other. We were friends, and in 2022, I think it was, he reached out and was like, because we had been talking, he had been writing stuff. He had been thinking about doing his, there was a graphic novel that he wanted to do. There was some other writing that he had done. He wanted to whatever, do something. And finally in 2022, he reached out and he was like, okay, how do I get you to help me write this book? And so I was actually about to go house sit for some friends in LA for about 3 weeks. And so I, basically spent most of that trip driving down to Redondo Beach and interviewing him. And he, I've said this before, but it was like every day I would drive like an hour and a half from Highland Park to Redondo Beach. I would sit in the middle of the mat in the combat-based garage, and Chris would walk around me in a circle for like 3 hours, just telling me his life story and his thoughts on any and everything. And so I've, gathered up all of this material from that process, okay. and then have been writing the book, wrote the book, and have been working on it ever since.
So something that you said right at the beginning of that, when you started to talk, you said like, we realize that these are just guys with Instagram accounts. Like it is, this is the IBJJF in the Nogi Worlds that I just went to last weekend. It's the first time I had been out really to a major like that. And regardless of how you feel about the IBJJF, my point here is that there were so many famous people, and there were very, very famous people in our world. They step out of there, or, they walk down the street and most people don't know who they are. I noticed like I didn't see anybody go up to anyone where they were like, no, not now. I can't take a picture, or I don't want to. Like, they wanted to talk. They want to be stopped. They want to take that picture. And it was, they're just human beings that just happen to, they do jiu-jitsu, and a lot of them are doing it really well. And they were totally approachable. Danaher was in like a chair, like in the middle of an aisle, like right by one of the podiums. He was just sitting there by himself. I was just like I think people felt like, I don't want to go up to him and bother him. Yeah. Meanwhile, he wants you to come over. He wants to take that picture. It was like odd in those ways. Sometimes you see like a famous person just sitting and people like looking, but nobody wanting to go over to them. But then people that are like, hey, can I take a picture? Absolutely. Come on. So they're just human beings. And again, they're not like, I think we put them on this pedestal. They're just, regular human beings.
I met Danaher on the street in New York by a pizza place.
Yeah.
And I kind of like double taked him, and I just like, John?
I was gonna walk up to him, and it was a roll of the dice if it would be funnier, and I'd be like, you look just like John Danaher. Like, I was gonna do that, and I was like, no.
He made me call my coach when I met him. So, like, you meet a guy like Danaher, and you're like, you kind of have to be like, hey, I'm legit. This is me. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm a black belt from American Top Team, and he's like, with Laborio? And I was like, yes. He goes, tell Ricardo I said hi. And I go, I will. And he goes,
Now.
So he like made me pull out my phone, and I called him, and I was like, I got the machine. Would you like to leave the message? Like, hey, Ricardo, I'm here. I'm with John Danaher. He goes, hello, Ricardo. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, it was that part was fun, but yeah, I mean, it's I feel like, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. Have you found somewhat of a niche here in the jiu-jitsu world, right? Where people are now coming to you. I mean, this is great. I think if I recall when we spoke last time, right? You even maybe said it before that, you had dreams of becoming a writer. Did you write nonfiction? Had you written nonfiction, or
fiction,
for yourself? For yourself?
Yeah. No, I'd written an incredible amount of fiction. I wrote about. Let's see. I wrote probably. So I went to school for writing. I have a degree in English with an emphasis on creative writing, which is what they called the degree at the school I went to. And from starting in 2004 and then up into the point that I met Richard, so that 15-year or so period, I think I wrote, I don't know, somewhere around a dozen novel-length manuscripts, several of which I, had published through this process that I was describing, and then short stories and stuff that some of which I got published in different, mostly online literary website journal things.
Okay.
But yeah, that was very much that was. For a long time, my writing life and my jiu-jitsu life were very separated. It was kind of like my days were pretty clearly delineated between like write all morning and then like train all late afternoon through evening, or train and teach. But yeah, it was for a long time. That was what my life looked like. And realistically, I mean, you if I found a niche here, it's like I think I have, but it's not. It's not necessarily the niche I was going for.
It's a very small niche. So are you like the go-to author of jiu-jitsu now? Or are you like, I only deal with legends?
Well, I have to, what I really, like one of the reasons I worked on Chris's book, aside from the fact that I'm friends with Chris and I like Chris a lot, is that I had written, I did Richard's book, and then I did a book about the patent system, which I knew nothing about, and then I helped a guy named John Petrelli write his memoir, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but that's not his main thing. He was a personal trainer to like Sebastian Maniscalco and Ziggy Marley. He's sort of like fitness trainer to the stars kind of guy. And so I had written these things that were memoirs or memoir-ish. I mean, the patent book was about one inventor's experience with the patent system, and then sort of about the patent system. And so when the opportunity to work on Chris's book came along, I was uninterested in writing another, like we're doing Worth Defending over again.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something that was more interesting, more complicated, and maybe played with the construct of memoir a little bit in an interesting way. And of course, Chris being Chris, he's so inventive and artistic. Like he was totally open to all these different ways of approaching everything. So that was a book where I had the opportunity to do something that wasn't just kind of more of the same. It was something new. It was something interesting. It was an interesting challenge. And so that's the long answer to your question. I mean, what I really want is projects that are interesting and that are something that is a new challenge for me that I haven't necessarily done before.
What came first, the chicken or the egg here? Did people see and read Worth Defending and then were like, I want to write a book? Or were these guys already thinking about it? I guess chicken or the egg for them, for some of these authors that you're working with, like, hey, I could do that. I have an interesting story. Or were they people that were like, I've been trying to do this for years, and can you help me? Or is it, were they inspired by Richard and you with Worth Defending?
I think they were people. Worth Defending didn't give anybody the idea to do it, but so people like Chris had been kicking around the idea for a long time, and people had been telling him for a long time, "Hey, you need to write a book." But what he sort of had at the moment that we started was he had like a lot of us do when we're sort of maybe early in the idea of a book. He had clearly ideas or stories or specific little things that he wanted to flesh out. And so he would send me these long documents that were sort of fragments of pieces. And sometimes they were single sentence fragments, or half sentence fragments. So so the book wasn't a new idea for Chris, but he didn't have anything approaching a book when he came to me.
So he just kind of mind dumped on you and you started like organizing?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you heard him before, he said he's like for 3 hours he'd walk around him.
Here's the thing. I could see myself being Chris in that situation, without a doubt. So, like, you had a very, I guess, a loose skeleton of what you wanted to do with it, and then he's just kind of brain vomiting, and you're like, oh, there's a story here and here and here, or did we already have a path to follow?
So, knowing Chris, right, and I'm so glad we're talking about this because I'm so excited about this book, and we're like, I want to.
Chris is a real character, man. Whenever he pops on my feed, I watch the whole video. He reminds me of like a war grandpa, the grandpa who's been to war, and he's like, I'm sick and tired of this crap. Damn kids,
the comedy,
and he's hilarious.
The comedy that he inserts into everything he says, at least the bits that we see online. That's really all I see. It's always, even with the serious face. He's like the straight guy. Yeah. Like he's the straight guy saying the funny thing, but never laughing himself.
Have you seen Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood?
No.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He's always saying something absolutely hilarious, but it's just da 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 bah. And you're just like, how are these guys not losing it? That's kind of the vibe I get off of him.
I think that's probably spot on.
So Chris, Chris is so knowing Chris, having spent a lot of time with Chris, and of course having consumed a lot of Chris's podcast content and videos and stuff like that, I had a very clear sense of what I was going to get when I signed on for this project. And I also felt like because Chris, part of that was knowing that Chris would want to include everything, right? His personal history, jiu-jitsu history, his theories about this, his interest in politics, his interest in art, just the universe of his mind. And so I came up with this idea very early on that within that there isn't necessarily a narrative arc, right? And I am, one of the things I come back to a lot is this idea that no matter how interesting your subject is or what you're talking about is, if you don't have that sense of there's a ball up in the air and I need to see where it lands, you're not going to keep reading. You might pick it up, you put it down, and if you don't care what happens next, or you don't have the sense that something that's happening next is going to relate to something that happened before, you kind of get unhooked. And so I was, sort of kicking around this idea of how am I going to include all of this material into one thing that doesn't just feel like a collage, right? It doesn't just feel like a written collage. And the idea I came up with was, look, why don't we tell exactly the story of this book? Meaning, you are a guy who has all of these interests and all of these ideas, and you want to write a book, and you realize that you can't contain this thing. And so you asked me, this guy you've known for a while and who's a writer, to help you corral this thing. And the tension of this book, the narrative tension of this book is, how is Scott going to turn this huge universe into one contained in between two covers, continuous self-contained arc? And will he be able to do it, or is it going to fly out of control and, he's going to lose his mind and ruin his relationship with Chris and all these different things? So it was a really unique sort of, I think it was a really good solution to this problem, or this puzzle. And I also think it turned into something that really is unique, and I'm really happy with it. And right now, Chris is reading what I think is the final draft of it. And if he signs off on it, then we're going to move ahead. And when we move ahead, you'll all get to read it. That will be soon.
I feel like this is going to be like
you giggle in there a few times because this has been a few years in the making.
It's been 3.5 years.
3.5 years in the making. Okay, that's the giggle. That's the smile. that you have when you say, I hope this is the final draft.
Like, we're almost
I
done.
believe it's the final draft, and you smile really big when you say that. So I'm sure we've been at it's close, but I'm sure you've been here at this, what it feels like the finish line before.
Well, this thing has had quite a saga, because, it's gone from, okay, I'm going to write a fairly self-contained thing to it became a huge book. I mean, 300,000+ words, so like 1,000-page book.
And it's like a memoir, but written from like a third person perspective.
Well, it's sort of a simultaneous memoir. It's like two memoirs happening. It's a Russian nesting doll of a memoir. There's a memoir within a memoir, and the memoir that's within the memoir is bigger than the memoir that's holding the memoir.
Sounds like a Chuck Palahniuk book. Like, I'm gonna get all twisted up in there.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's so we can come back to talk about him a little bit more, but let's talk about how you met Benjamin Chen and how Lessons from the Mat came to be. And I'm curious. I don't necessarily want to compare the two, but comparing what you got from Ben, when speaking to him, it seemed like he felt like he had something a little bit more structured, and then you guys meet. So first of all, tell us how you met, and then tell us a little bit about how that process got started.
So Ben and I met. Let's see. I was. I think it was the summer of 2023. I was sleeping in my camper on the street in front of Haueter's house. working
we can't get rid of Chris here.
Yeah. And doing some stuff with Rickson, sleeping on the street in front of Haueter's house, and teaching some private lessons out of, they were letting me use the combat-based garage. And so Ben and our other friend Chong came up to do a private with me, and that was kind of the first time I met them. They knew me from whatever social media with Rickson and stuff like that. And so we did a private lesson. We went out and we had lunch, and over lunch Ben kind of said, I just finished up this major project that I've been working on, this major business undertaking, and now I'm sort of in the process of, been working on this book. I've had this book idea. And at that point we weren't really, he was just kind of sharing, I've been writing a thing, and we chatted a little bit about it. And then the following, it was probably following early spring or late winter, I was out in California again, and I went down to San Diego and worked with Ben and Chong and their friend Tim as well, down in Oceanside. And Ben and I got together at that point. He said, okay, so would you be interested in helping me turn what I've got into a finished product? And at that point he sent me what he had, and so we started the process there of going back and forth. And Ben's book was a much more contained idea, right? He had realized that, his 40+ years in the martial arts had directly informed his life as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And he felt like he had some insights and some perspective to share now that he is sort of in his retirement phase, that he wanted to share with people who might find that information valuable. And so, that project was much more about sort of, even though it was of course about Ben sharing his own personal experience, unlike something like Chris's book, which is about really trying to share and show, connect with the community and show who you are. The conversation with Ben's book was very much about how do we organize this information? What are the key insights? How do we present it in a way that's useful to people, no matter what they're doing, no matter whether they're an entrepreneur or they're, just raising kids or whatever they're doing, that where they face challenges, where they have to problem solve situations, all these different things. So the nature of that book was much more formally structured and much more, let's say, consumer oriented, in that it was very much like, okay, who are we trying to talk to and how can we help them?
Okay.
As an academy owner, you work hard to build trust with your students, their parents, and your community. But trust isn't something you claim, it's something you prove and earn. That's where Academy Safe comes in. We help academies like yours stand out with verified safety standards. Background checks for all staff, U.S. Center for Safe Sport certification, concussion training, defibrillators on site, CPR, first aid and AED certification, security cameras, rank and lineage checks, and verification of business insurance. Join the trusted martial arts registry that's redefining safety throughout North America. Lead by example. Show parents you're accredited with Academy Safe.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Is your business getting lost online? Black Belt Digital Marketing is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps you get found, get leads, and grow. We specialize in local and website SEO, so your business stands out when customers search. Our website SEO makes sure your site loads fast, ranks high, and stays ahead of AI-driven search, so customers find you first. More visibility, more clicks. More customers right when they're ready to buy. Grow your business online with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com or call 9542-204932 today.
So we touched on this with Ben a little bit. I'm curious your story and your entrance into this circle of these bigger names. I know Ben said something along the lines of to start training with Rickson. He sent some emails that went unanswered, and basically you needed an intro. I mean, was this the world that you lived in? How did you meet Chris? How did you start training with Rickson? Was it hey, because we're in Cali and we're in this, you are in Cali, right? Ben,
I'm in Ohio.
You're in Ohio. I'm sorry. Is Ben in Texas or in Cali?
Ben is in San Diego.
Ben is in San Diego. Okay, so you're in. Okay, so a bit even more disconnected from that group. So
yeah.
So how do you meet these guys? How did this happen? I'm definitely interested in in that entrance into that world. Ben, again, talked a little bit about having to send emails and get intros, and but I'm curious about your story.
Well, my story is similar to a lot of people's story, but I might have had I don't know. It seems like some people really had to, wait on the doorstep for 3 days with no food and water kind of thing. I reached a point where I was feeling very, very frustrated with jiu-jitsu. I felt like I was, jiu-jitsu was moving in a direction that I didn't care about really. I was like, the sport is cool. It's fun to watch. I'm not interested in it as a practitioner. But I also felt like as a gym runner, I had to do these things to stay relevant, to attract students and whatever. I was feeling very frustrated on a couple different fronts. And, there were some other things going on that I was feeling. I was feeling just very hemmed in and boxed in by the conditions of my life at that point. And I was thinking, maybe I don't even want to do jiu-jitsu anymore. And my girlfriend, Jen, was kind of she was like, well, what would make you want to keep doing this? If you could walk away or do this, what are those two things? You'd walk away or blank. And I said, train with Rickson. I train with Rickson. That's it. Everything else I don't care about. There's nobody else. I mean, other guys are great. Other guys are amazing. But for me, I want to train with Rickson. And if I can't train with Rickson, then maybe I just don't.
Now, was that because you just knew of him? You know, you'd seen him fight. Did you know of him? Did you go to seminars? Like, what made him that person for you?
So obviously I saw Choke as a white belt, and Choke became kind of like my, for a lot of people, that's your true north, right?
Yeah.
Like who he is, how he trains, the way he thinks, the way he views jiu-jitsu, the way he lives his life. You're like, that's the purest essence. Like that's what I'm going for. And so I was, just a huge fan of his, right? So Choke, watched his fights, watched anything I could find on YouTube, and had actually was able to attend a seminar he taught in Chicago in 2013. But kind of at the time, my mentality was like, I'm nobody from Ohio. He's Rickson Gracie. He's not going to train me. Like that's a big world. I'm a little guy. And so, but in 2017, I was like, I don't care. Like that's all I want to do. If he says no, whatever. But at the time, it was like you couldn't really find him. He didn't have a school. He wasn't teaching anywhere. They're kind of. I would Google Rickson Gracie seminar. Nothing was coming up ever. And so Jen was like, "Well, why don't you, check and see if he's teaching anyone?" And I was like, "He's not." She's like, "Well, you should check." So I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll check." And I checked, and they announced this big seminar that morning that he was going to teach in Albany. And so I was like the first person to sign up. So a couple months go by, go to the seminar, and I'm like sitting in the front row, and he like pulls me out and he's using me in like the demonstrations, and I'm on the mat with him for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, like a bunch of time. And at the end of the seminar, I was like, "Okay, dude," like we got my picture, and then I was like, "How do I train with you more?" And he kind of blew me off. It was kind of like, like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe you could come to California, but I don't know, I'm busy." And then like I didn't get any contact information or anything. He just kind of blew me off. And so I went home, and I reached out to. I was connected to Tony Pasensky on social media, and so I reached out to Tony, and I was like, "Tony, you don't really know me, but we have sort of some mutual friends. I need Rickson's email address." And so he gave me Rickson's email. I sent Rickson an email. Rickson didn't respond to my email. But he had another seminar coming up in Halifax that Shane Rice was putting on. And so I was like, I guess I'm going to Halifax. So I flew to Halifax. I did that seminar. And at the beginning of it, he was walking around. He was introducing himself to everybody. And he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Scott," right? And I was like, "Oh my God, he knows my name." And so we did that seminar. And then
can I stop you real quick? What belt are you at this point? What belt were you when you were having these doubts? Were you already a black belt?
I was a first degree black belt. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so went home from the Halifax seminar, emailed him again. It was like, "Thank you, amazing seminar. Again, I still would really love to keep training with you." And he wrote back and he was like, "Here's my phone number. Call me." And so I called him immediately so I wouldn't chicken out. And then 3 weeks later I was in California, and then just continued to go out to California.
Now, you said he didn't have a school? Was he like you going to his house to train, or did you meet him at a gym? Like, how did that happen?
No, he was those first 9 lessons were all in his living room.
Really?
Or no, 8 of them were in the living room. One of them was in the Gracie Academy, but the boys had moved out to the Gracie Academy. It was empty.
Okay.
And then he got that studio space where he was filming all that content. And so after that, we were meeting there, and then he moved to Florida last year.
Now you say living room, like living room with mats or living room with like rugs, hey, let's move the couch out of the way. And, or like every jiu-jitsu practitioner's dream, the wife lets you turn the whole living room into a mat space.
Turn into an old Japanese.
No, it's like, you walk in, there's like a staircase that goes upstairs here.
And then mats.
And then to your left is all mats and the walls matted. And
really?
Rickson Gracie's living room.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's exactly what you would actually expect, right?
Yeah.
So how quickly did your perceptions of jiu-jitsu, your feelings about jiu-jitsu change? Did it change after that first seminar, or did it change when you started training with him? Has it changed?
It's changed tremendously. And it's changed in different facets of it have changed at different rates.
Yeah.
But there were certain things that changed immediately, for sure. And then, those things have continued to evolve, and then there have been other things that changed along the way too.
So let's clarify to you. You are a judo black belt?
Yes.
A jiu-jitsu black belt?
Yep.
Do you have one other?
Yeah, I have a black belt in a Korean style called Kuksul-do. That was my first.
Because I remember Ben said that you had 6 black belts between the two of you. So I figured it was 3 and 3.
Yep.
So can we dig into a little bit about what were you disillusioned about? What were your feelings about? We've talked about this before with plenty of people about their feelings about sports jiu-jitsu and, the pulling guard and the I think somebody used the word sportification of jiu-jitsu. I think I'm not the first person to say that. What about that didn't you like? What was tearing at you?
I don't know. It's kind of, I have to go back into my Rolodex of.
You can maybe just, what is your feeling about that today?
Today, so there's I probably the easiest way to say it is you see these posts all the time where people say nobody got into jiu-jitsu to learn how to score points, right?
Okay.
And that's not a true statement.
No.
There are people who they looked at it. I made a post about this where I said that's like saying nobody got into playing basketball to learn how to score points. Sure, they did. They saw that sport. That sport looked fun to them. They started doing it. They enjoyed doing it, and they wanted to get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% great. I'm thrilled that they're into doing that. It wasn't something that I personally found interesting. It wasn't what I cared about doing. And the sensibility that I had to keep chasing this ever expanding thing that I didn't really find inspiring started to feel very grating to me. And to be honest with you, I mean, I think maybe this was just me, maybe this was just my sense of things at the time, but in 2017 was right on the cusp of, I feel like it was on the cusp of the modern era where sport and MMA and self-defense, they had all already split, basically. But we hadn't collectively agreed that they'd split. There was this sense that if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're supposed to be doing, I mean, because let's say late 90s, early 2000s up until whatever, 2010, the idea was if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're basically doing all three of those, right?
Okay.
What you're doing should work, self-defense, MMA, competition. And so the expectation was that you, as a black belt, would be able to succeed. You're supposed to be a black belt in all three contexts. Mm-hmm. And so the pressure to be that was getting greater. Maybe this is just me, but I thought it was getting greater and greater because each of those had become a full-time pursuit, right? You could spend all of your energy getting good at just one of them in terms of how much there was to know in any one of them. And so the feeling as a black belt that I'm sort of in a shooting gallery and anybody's going to walk in from any background, some 10th planet guy, some down on her guy, something guy, and I'm supposed to know everything about all of these things. And maybe that was a pressure I was putting on myself. Maybe I totally invented it, but that was how I felt at the time. And it was sort of how I felt from my students and from students who would visit, where you go if some purple belt came in from some, footlock specialty school, I wasn't necessarily allowed to not know what they were doing, right? So it's like I've now signed on to continuously expand my core competency in a way that I don't really care about. I didn't start doing this to become a specialist in these different things. Again, anybody who wants to do these things, awesome. It has nothing to do with my feelings about those things. It was that I personally didn't find inspiration in chasing those things. And so I was feeling this I guess I would say a disconnect between where my passion and inspiration was pulling me and the demands of the job as I saw it.
Okay.
And I think now that the sport and MMA and self-defense have split so much, I think maybe there's a little bit more of an acceptance, maybe, or maybe I've just accepted more that, like, if you say, yeah, we're a traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school, nobody really expects you to know the Danaher Death Squad game, right? And you can say, yeah, this is what we care about, and if you care about this, come train with us, and if you want to do the other thing, go do the other thing. But I felt like had to be like a one-room schoolhouse / general store.
Yeah.
And I didn't, but for, like, a wide range of grades, a wide range of interests, and a wide range of customer demands. And it was starting to feel like stuff I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I think to feel like much like work.
Yeah, I think I have that as I get older, back isn't the greatest, but I love to, I'm still, I'm always trying to be on the mat as much as I can. Certainly not as much, I'm not out there as much as I would like to, life, work. But I feel that pressure of, oh, you don't know leg locks as much, or you don't know the traditional Gracie self-defense, standing, protect yourself from a punch, body locks. Like, no, we're not doing that at my, I'm in a newer school for the last couple of years, but no, we're not doing that. We're, it's, hey, let's show a move, pull guard, start on our knees, not a ton of takedowns, not a lot of, you're going to bang into each other. Like, but that I've spoken to people that have that same thing. My buddy Drew has more, he's turned, I went to an open mat at my buddy Drew's on the weekend, and I had previously been there. I showed up in my gi, and we did, some guys were in no gi and some guys were in their gis. And maybe 6 months later, I show up with a buddy with my gi. Everyone's in no gi, and like Drew wasn't there yet, and they're staring at us like, what the fuck are these guys doing here in their pajamas? Like, they jokingly call it like, yeah, we don't wear our pajamas here. I was like, oh, all right, I guess I'm taking this off. Luckily, I had my no-gi. Like, so it's like this shift, and like now they've become more of an MMA school. He's got a team, and now he went from doing gi jiu-jitsu to, and I trained with him back in the gi back in the day before he owned a school, and it's slowly morphed into now he's really a competition, an MMA competition team with really just doing no gi jiu-jitsu for MMA. I think he's even gotten rid of I don't know if he's got rid of his kids program, but really? I shouldn't say that. No, I saw a post the other day that he does have his kids program, but the adults, I don't think he even has any gi program anymore for adults. So like, there's that shift even within somebody's journey. He started out being just a gi guy, former Marine, just always did gi, trained with us in the gi, fell in love with the no gi, opens a school, does both, and now he's, again, now he's no gi and really
I've
an
always
MMA
known
school.
him as a no gi only guy.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you known?
A couple of years, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, going back, I was when I was a white belt, he used to come and he was a purple belt. He used to come around and beat the hell out of us. He was a little guy. I used to call him a spider monkey. He was just like, he was so fast. He just moved all around. I was like, where the hell did he go? Like, his jiu-jitsu is really good. So yeah, I mean, I saw with, I get, like I'm at 52, I'm 52, and I tell people I'm doing this for me. This is for me, and I don't have to validate why I'm doing it, and I don't have to. I know I don't know as many leg locks as you, and no, we're not doing the Gracie stand-up, the Gracie combatives. Would I like to? Yeah, I definitely encourage people to go to any seminar that they can. I think when I was younger in jiu-jitsu, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to that seminar. They might see that I don't know something, and seminars are not like that. Yeah. And additionally, one other thought I had there, Scott, is now I feel like. You mentioned the 3 kinds of jiu-jitsu, right? Like for, sport, for MMA, and the traditional, like, kind of the Gracie way. But now, we interview tons of law enforcement guys. And there's I say that there's that 4th side now where it's jiu-jitsu for, to get into a cuffing position, and very much jiu-jitsu, where you're working with a partner. It's different. I mean, I've been to law enforcement seminars now, and I know the jiu-jitsu parts are the same, but going, oh, wow, this one little movement here, and now I'm on his back. My Kimura turns to me sitting on his back, and I'm holding his arm in place with my leg. Like, if you don't get taught that, you don't see it. I'm not a cop, so I didn't see it. But there's that side. I believe there's that fourth side now, and I actually enjoy learning a little bit of that. Just kind of being in those positions of like, okay, am I going to like break this guy's arm versus like I'm going to hold somebody in place till maybe like a cop comes if I was in a self-defense situation or I was got involved with the fight or somebody getting attacked. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy learning that side. And I've been to a seminar down here, and it was just like, okay. I went to I did something called Seminar Stack, which they have people come out and do seminars for police and law enforcement, first responders. So that's really the second one I was at. But I was kind of like involved from a sponsorship side, not like on the map, but I got to watch some of it. So it's just like that interests me a lot. My dad was a cop, and we have tons of law enforcement. Our last episode was a couple of law enforcement guys that came on. So like that subject is near and dear to my heart. A lot of that is because I remember my father, he was a New York City Transit police police officer, and there was no continuing ed. There were no defense tactics beyond the academy. So I enjoy kind of like digging into that subject and seeing it evolve. So I know like you've been talking about trying to get do more law enforcement work up there in Palm Beach, right?
I would love to. I know there's a city nearby me that has like a deal with a gym, and it's just like, hey, our guys are going to come to you. They'll show you their ID, and they're sorted. That would be an amazing thing to do. I'd even love to even get involved at the station, like we were talking with the guys from Gwinnett last week. Yeah,
that side really that's. I mean, it's not necessarily even part of my journey. It's not something that I need in my journey, but it interests me a lot, and I like watching it, and I like again, seeing two guys holding somebody on the wall and how they maneuver and how they hold on. Like that interests me because it's so far removed from what I do that it's the thing. Like right now with my jiu-jitsu, I feel like I'm getting like the little tiny pieces of like how to make my game better. When I see something that somebody does that I like to do, but they do it a little differently, I'm like, I really want to get that little nugget. I like that the kind of, jiu-jitsu for law enforcement is so far away from what I actually do or that I need to do that, I could pick up the most information from that. Does that make sense? I can learn the most from that because it's so far from what I'm doing on, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, So, but we can't forget about that fourth part though,
No, it's fascinating. I was doing some stuff with the local PD. They were putting their recruits through the hands-on stuff, and we're all like going and being bad guys, and that's a fascinating field because much like Chris, to bring it back to Chris a little bit, one of the big subjects that he talks about and that we talk about a lot in the book is how these evolutionary pressures create adaptation, and that this is the nature of jiu-jitsu, right? So any context that you put something in and any limitation you place on it will produce adaptation toward those conditions. And law enforcement is such a unique puzzle because, as far as I understand it, there's a wide variety of regulations among jurisdictions in terms of what you're allowed to do, right? You can't do knee on belly. Some you can't do any sort of restraint to the neck, things like this. And also like the very specific objective, whereas in jiu-jitsu our objective is to submit, right? Damage. Law enforcement, that can't be your objective. Your objective is to neutralize, contain, and cuff, right? So that's as different from jiu-jitsu as wrestling is from jiu-jitsu, where because of the very specific goal that you have in mind, the way you deploy the grappling technique, the strategy within which you deploy those tools has to be very specifically adapted to that demand. And you say the guy's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and he's a police officer, he's probably great at handcuffing people. Well, he has a toolkit from which those tools can be very useful in the context of trying to handcuff people. But if he hasn't studied the specific goal set and the specific limitations, like if he's only training in jiu-jitsu with his friends doing full jiu-jitsu kind of rules and strategy, and then he's going and trying to apply that in his work life, there isn't a perfect marriage of those two things. And so being a black belt in jiu-jitsu may not actually be the best thing for you if you're in law enforcement. I mean, it'd certainly be a tremendous advantage. But
and we haven't even introduced, having a weapon or having a weapon on you that could be taken away. You introduce that, and then there's this whole now jiu-jitsu or jiu-jitsu for law enforcement itself winds up opening up until its own subcategories. Like you got the 4 parts of jiu-jitsu, but then you've got law enforcement again. It's just like, okay, we're doing our defensive tactics. We got to be standing up. We're going to take somebody to the ground, like you said, subdue, neutralize, and then cuff, and then working with a partner. That's a whole nother. I've never done jiu-jitsu where it's me and a partner against one person, right? That's not something that we do, and we don't train like that, right? It's one-on-one, in what we call mutual combat, or what, right? I declare mutual combat, right? Can you do that in Texas, right? Tell somebody so we can legally fight and beat the shit out of each other. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, now you're talking about, no, it's 2-on-1. So you're gonna, don't let me cuff you and me and my partner. That's a whole nother side of it. I don't know that you would necessarily call that jiu-jitsu, but we're using, the tenets of jiu-jitsu, to get them to the ground or to get them against the wall, and how do you hold them, and again, now introduce a weapon there. That's why it excites me, because there's so many little things there that open up. It's just like new knowledge, which I think is fascinating.
Puzzle, yeah.
Which part's exciting? Yeah. The being held down by
Say that
guys.
Again?
What?
Comic relief over here. So, Scott, you had mentioned off air when you messaged me that Master Rickson's actually working on something. Can you tell us? We got Chris. We got your book with Benjamin that just came out. How long has that book been out now?
Came out September 1st.
Okay, so you have Lessons from the Mat. You have something coming with Chris Haueter. Mm-hmm. You've got, what do you have? Are you saying Master Rickson has something coming out? Is it something that you're working on with him? And is it a book?
It is not a book.
It's not a book.
It is not a book. But obviously anybody who follows Rickson or Chris Burns, Burns and Michael Casey and I and Jack Talfer, the other people in this little orbit, obviously been spending a bunch of time.
Is it that small? I'm sorry, just so that we can clarify for listeners who may not understand. I see you on the mat with Rickson. I saw there was a promotion or there were several promotion ceremonies. I know Chris promoted somebody with Master Rickson. I don't know if that was all in the same day or class, but then I think I saw you, I saw Ben, I saw a couple of other people, and then I saw Chris. Oh, sorry. Who's the last guy that you just mentioned? I know I've been watching his he's kind of
Talfer?
No. Is it Chris?
Burns?
Burns, yeah. Chris Burns. Is it Chris Burns?
Did somebody just thumbs down Chris Burns? What is that little thumbs down that just came up on your screen?
No, those are automatic. Okay. If somebody goes like that, like sometimes on the screen.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a Zoom feature. It's a Zoom feature. No, I love it. No, thumbs up. Let thumbs up. Yeah, if you put it in front of the camera, sometimes, or if you do it there, if you went thumbs down, it'll little emoji will come on the screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a Zoom feature. So yeah, Chris Burns. So are you guys is that it? Is that who Rickson's working with, or is Rickson doing bigger classes, and does he have white belts and blue belts, or you guys it?
He has a variety of people that he works with. People,
okay.
He trains a lot of different people from a lot of different organizations. But there's sort of this little group that has been training with him pretty consistently.
All black belts
as a group. I think we're all black belts.
Okay.
So, I hesitate to even name names because I think I'm going to probably leave somebody out. But Burns, people see me in photos or see Burns in my photos.
Sure.
Right? Burns, Michael Casey, Joe Mendoza, Jack Talfer, Darian Coben, all these, Vinny Fonseca is in there. So there's a little group of people who are very passionate about learning as much as we can from Rickson so we can really preserve.
So do you
and not
do you schedule getting together? Like, is it like, okay, hey, we're all going to be there at this time?
Yeah.
Or is it like they're, you know, they might train with him on his own and then you come in and you train with him on his own? Oh, we just all happen to be here at the same time. Or is it like scheduled, hey guys, we're all going to be here for this week, this month?
So
it's a mix of both.
Okay.
And Ben and Chong are also obviously training with Rickson very regularly. So it's a loose affiliation of millionaires and billionaires.
It feels like it's, again, that's like when I look at it from the outside, I'm like, you know, that's like
that's a room to be in.
Yeah. It's this like, what is going on? How did you? Because again, individually, we like, you know, we see you, we see Chris, we see Rickson. Like, it's like how, like, why are all these famous? Like, are they getting together because they're all like famous social media influencers, or is this just a thing? If social media didn't exist, you know, you guys would still be in that room together.
Well, no, they're and look, I know this is gonna annoy somebody because
don't worry about it.
It feels like I'm leaving people off the list. There are a lot of people who are very passionate about Rickson's Jiu-Jitsu and who care deeply about preserving Rickson's Jiu-Jitsu. It's not just us. We are a group of people who are friends with each other and who are all also passionate about this, and so we tend to travel as a pack.
Sure.
Why specifically Rickson? Like, what is it about Rickson as being
his
himself
jiu-jitsu
that you're like, oh, this has to be preserved? Like, we keep hearing about invisible jiu-jitsu, and I've never had the pleasure of training with Rickson, but you hear all these amazing stories. Like, it is jiu-jitsu, but apparently it's a completely different thing. So I have to assume, are you guys documenting these sessions? Like, you know, he's not a young man anymore. You know, it's very well known that he's got, you know, back pain and issues, just like most jiu-jitseros as we age. So are we trying to create like a catalog while he's still physically capable of, I guess,
is there a method to this? Is there a method to the madness? Is this
the encyclopedia of Rickson? You know?
So this gets into the stuff that we're working on, but I'm not really supposed to talk about.
Okay.
Don't worry. Nobody's listening.
Where's the green button?
Obviously, about 10 years ago, Rickson started the JJGF with this mission to try to preserve the. So, your question was two parts. I'll answer the second part first.
Okay.
10 years ago, he created the JJGF with this idea that the core of art of jiu-jitsu and its core mission to serve the people who need jiu-jitsu, the people who are timid, who are weak, who don't have the tools to really engage with life and go after what they want. Jiu-jitsu can develop them and help them develop themselves and give them a sense of potential and possibilities that they wouldn't otherwise have. So jiu-jitsu can be used as this tool to develop people, as we all know and have experienced. And the concern was that within the rising tide of the sport, jiu-jitsu was becoming more and more focused on people who were already tough and competitive and tenacious and had all of these intangible personal attributes, that jiu-jitsu became a way to express those, but that they already had them, right? They didn't need to develop them. Those were people who, when life knocks them down, they're going to get back up, whether they know jiu-jitsu or not. But the people who get knocked down and might not get back up, those are the people who need to be taught, no, with jiu-jitsu, you can get back up, you can face your challenges. And so the idea with the JJGF was to, in part, preserve this core art and re-emphasize this mission, which many people understand and many people do. And that federation between different things has evolved and tried to find different ways to preserve that art. But what we've been working on lately is what the sort of the next iteration is going to be for Rickson and his mission moving forward, to really focus the energy of this particular mission, define the teaching methodology, and define how it can be spread to as many people as possible, and focus on making it accessible to as many people as possible. And
can you elaborate a little bit on, I had never heard of the JJGF until
Same.
you just said it and I Googled it. So
okay.
can you elaborate on what exactly he's trying to do with this organization?
So, well, that organization,
Is it like an affiliation essentially, or it's more?
It was intended to be larger than an affiliation. It was intended to be something that all academies could join. All expressions of jiu-jitsu were welcome to be part of this thing. And the original intention was to produce educational resources and to hold competitions that would follow a rule set that was more in line with preserving what Rickson felt like was
that the
spirit of
Jiu-Jitsu World League tournament that he started some time back?
No, this was. I think they only did one competition, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It didn't end up doing too many events, unfortunately. And so these different facets sort of evolved or didn't necessarily come to fruition the way they had originally been intended. And so the JJGF existed sort of in theory and in on the web, and it's something that people could join, but there wasn't necessarily this focused mission and a way to enact the focused mission to a broad audience. I mean, right now the JJGF is something that academies can join and become, basically register and be certified as a JJGF affiliated academy as a way of expressing their commitment to Rickson's view of jiu-jitsu and his priority set in jiu-jitsu. But beyond that, there's not much to enact in your school.
Okay.
Aside from saying, okay, yes, I do care about jiu-jitsu and I want to teach. I mean, you can certainly, there are the educational resources that he produced. There's the self-defense unit. There's the material on the Rickson.academy site that he produced, the instructional material there. And so schools could take that and implement it, but there isn't a curriculum, there isn't a program, there isn't a guidebook, a script for implementing it into implementing it as a direct expression of the mission and the goal.
Okay.
And so I don't think I'm saying too much to say that is the part that we are working on now, is what are the nuts and bolts infrastructure that's going to move this project into its next phase, and especially in Rickson's current physical condition, both injury wise and illness wise, so that he can still continue to serve in his role, and then have people around him who can also carry that mission, that very specific mission, forward. Wow. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. And
awesome. How far away are we from being able to see some tangible results? I'm thinking some of it may be online, so as tangible as online things can be.
Yeah, I cannot speak to specific timelines. It's
a secret.
My feeling is that 2026 will be
okay.
Awesome.
The plane will be taking off.
I hope this isn't self-serving at all for me to ask this question. I don't think I've asked this of a guest. Maybe we've had guests comment on it, but I've never asked them. It's come up because we do the read. You've been around multiple disciplines for a really long time. I don't know how much you know about Academy Safe and what we're doing. What are your thoughts on this? Are we out of our mind thinking that we're going to get everyone in jiu-jitsu and again, martial arts as a whole? We're doing all of martial arts to commit to saying, yeah, we need to background check our coaches and the people that are going to be around, our wives, daughters, kids. Again, I don't know if you've given it any thought or you knew what we were doing, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic what you guys are doing. I think, like any other, business, essentially, the question is making it accessible enough that you're going to get adaptation. But I think in principle it's fantastic. Like the jiu-jitsu or the judo federation that I'm a part of, in order to get a black belt, you have to complete concussion awareness training through the CDC. You have to complete sexual harassment training, through, I think, another site.
We do it through Safe Sport, the U.S. Center for Safe Sport.
Exactly,
Okay.
Safe Sport. And then you have to get a background check as well. And I know that JJGF also requires you to do a background check and sign a zero tolerance policy in order to be certified, either as an academy or as a black belt, maybe both. So I think the idea is a fantastic idea and really ought to be the standard. I don't think anybody is doing what you are doing, where you have created this very comprehensive package of things that academies could and can and should implement, and then created the platform for organizing it and for implementing it in their schools the way that you have. I think it's a terrific idea.
I think part of the problem that we're trying to solve for is that, ATA, IBJJF, you mentioned judo, USA Wrestling, they all do this for the higher level, the black belt, the coach, but it's the staff. We're missing obviously there are, besides the three things that you named, which is what most of them do. Most of them actually only do the background check and Safe Sport. I think all of the ones that I listed, including what you just mentioned now, all do the Safe Sport and the background check, but only for the owner. In wrestling, it's a little bit different. If you want to be a ref, if you want to be a coach, if you want to be a certified coach, you have to do it. But no one is worried about the rest of the employees. And obviously these other things that we believe make an academy safe. As a heart attack survivor myself, having an AED on premises and, having people trained in CPR first aid and using the actual defibrillator is important to me. But there are organizations that do it. Where they're missing out, where I think the disconnect is, it's great. You did a background check on the owner, but what about the people that he's hiring? What about the people that are around their kids? And we can see time and time again where, yes, there have been problems with even a coach that might have been background checked, but more often than not, it's coming from, let's call it like a rogue coach, somebody that comes in and, doesn't have a background check or is hiding in plain sight, has had an issue in the past. We're looking, when we do the background check, we're using the same criteria as USA Wrestling, which is, we're looking for felonies and any domestic issues, right? So anything involving a child, anything, a guy hit his wife, we want to know. Those are the things that we want to know about. Possession of marijuana, not concerned. The first guy that popped that came up with like a declined or a failed background check was marijuana possession. And I had to tell his coach, and it was the first time we were dealing with it. And when I get on the phone with him, coincidentally just tells me that he just took an edible. How am I going to tell it? So we knew like, it's such a big part of, especially the jiu-jitsu community, that like, we can't like deny coaches because of marijuana possession. So that quickly became something that we look at. Now, if he was, if he got in trouble for, bringing in a load of marijuana across the border, we might have to have a more serious conversation, but luckily those haven't happened. But again, that's the disconnect in the community that I believe that we're trying to solve is great. I'm glad that all these organizations are doing the background check and they've adopted the Safe Sport certification, but they're missing out on the fact that they need to have their coaches, whether they're a blue belt coach or they're a black belt coach or they're they're an assistant or they're an aftercare worker. If they're over 18, we believe that they should be background checked and they should, go through these criteria because, I tell anybody that's being left alone with your students, anybody that has keys to your facility, those are all people that should be background checked. Even the guy that picks up the kids for the aftercare program and the girl sitting at the front desk, like everyone needs to be. And I'll say one more other thing. When I talk about like, hey, the girl at the front desk, I went to I don't know if you know Maya. Maya's like a organization for martial arts. They kind of coach on the marketing side, Maya. So I went to the MayaCon event, and I don't know his name. I was essentially set up for Academy Safe, but I'm in the room where they're talking, and one of the guys that goes up to speak, I turned my head so fast when he said that he had to fire his daughter for sleeping with a 15-year-old, his adult daughter in her 20s, for having a relationship with a 15-year-old. He's on stage talking about, I was like, what did he just say? And I was just like dialed in. You were there, right?
I'm a member.
Yeah. I was dialed in and I said, I mean, I applaud him for being open about his own situation.
Didn't
but
even hesitate.
he told the entire story about, it was, I think, like a summer camp, his martial arts summer camp. And there were 2 inappropriate relationships happening. And I think the adults in both of those relationships knew about the other person and were kind of like almost bribing them to like, keep it quiet. I'll keep yours quiet if you keep mine quiet. And one of them was his adult daughter, and he had to get rid of her and fire her. Right. So they, spoke to the parents, and, okay, like no charges were filed, but that's what we're dealing with in this world. But I was shocked that somebody was, he stood up and like aired his family's dirty laundry, and he's a speaker at these events all of the time. He's one of the coaches in this organization. So I applaud him for being open, but that's what we're dealing with. My situation with my academy was, again, there were some things that could be potentially illegal that I can't prove and I didn't investigate, but most of what was done was immoral. Dating your students, wives, and hitting on your male students' girlfriends, and you're married running a gym, and you're doing this. He just happened to do it to one of my old co-hosts. He actually was hitting on his wife, and he knew, and he was like, hey, keep the conversation going, see where he takes this. And, so again, there's morally wrong, and then there's illegal. And there are some things that, again, that I found out later, like, no, that's illegal, that I've been told, no, that's illegal. He can't do that with kids in the school. Again, what we're trying to solve for is, it's great. It's a great start getting anyone background check, but what's missing is the staff members. And if more organizations start to push that, it's like, great. Well, our biggest school, we're going to have Coach Kevin on from Gracie Trinity. Mm-hmm. He's got now 24. He's got the largest amount of coaches registered with us that are going through the process. Like, I believe we're at 24. He registered all of his coaches, all of his assistant coaches, paid and non-paid. So those 24 aren't all paid. They're like the guys that help out with class, the kids that anybody over 18 that helps out with class is listed, which is amazing. I was so happy that he did that. He really, again, everyone that is, putting hands on a student or helping somebody or helping with classes on that list. So, that's the route that we believe that we need to take. So, thank you I appreciate the kind words about what we're doing, but yeah, again, hearing it from other people, that's how I introduced it to Rob from McDojo. I went to him and said, am I crazy? Can we do that? I already had the idea going. I registered the nonprofit. And I said, am I crazy? Are we going to get people to do this? And he told me, and it's when I was like, okay, we're doing this full force. When I asked him if he thought I was crazy, he said, Milton, people have been after me to do this for years. Mm. People have been asking me, as the guy that's outing people that have been doing bad things, you should be doing this. What can we do? What's the next step? Okay, we know that there are creepers. You did this story. Now what? And he was like, what do you need from me? And I was just like, well, I wasn't calling you to come on the board, but obviously, with your knowledge, your social media presence, he's been in this industry for so long, owned a school, he jumped on board real quick. So I'm happy to see where it's going. And we've got I mentioned it before, right? We're international now, apparently.
Yeah, no, I was
Germany,
so
Canada,
in the intro. Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah,
like,
so-
I was glad to hear it's blowing up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for sure.
I again happy to take on. We're actually going to put the next t-shirts that we make, because everyone is calling the background check guys. We're going to try to incorporate that somewhere on the back of the shirt.
The background
the
check
background check guy. But anyway, I thank you. I didn't want to be too self-serving there, but I'm curious of what, again, people have been hearing, like, yeah, that's a good idea. I like that you're doing that, but I don't think I've ever really dug in with somebody that's been in this world a really long time or owns a school, where I've said, what do you think? Would you do this? Could you do this? What are your thoughts on it? So thank you for that. Did you have
keep up the good work, for sure, man?
Yeah, man. I'm really, really hoping that it continues to grow. It's consistent. We have people signing up every week.
If you're
I woke up this morning and 2 new members.
You can't see it and be like, my gym doesn't need that.
Yeah.
Right.
Even not even as like a sympathetic party, just as a business owner, you're going, oh, this will become the standard. I should just get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you feel no way about any of it, it's going to be the standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think the laws are going to change, especially like I think New York is going to be one of the first to change the laws, and it's just like anybody involved with. I mean, there are certain states and locales that have some regulations in place, or if you're dealing with children, you have to do a background check. So it does exist, but again, a lot of it has to do with school and aftercare. A lot of places don't have anything. It's crazy that you would say like anyone can just work with this kid and be alone in a room with the kid. And the last thing I'll say about it is, if you don't want anything to happen to your child, don't use martial arts as a daycare center. Like sit on the mat, sit, hopefully, right. Most gyms have a place to sit, wait, stay, watch, bring your book, bring your iPad, bring your computer, bring your phone.
I'm surprised.
But be in the room and don't leave them alone.
Parents, like especially of the older kids, like say 9 through 12, come in, like at all. I was talking.
They just wait. They pull up in front and the kid comes out.
I was thinking about putting into practice that you have to come in. The parent must come in to drop you off and must come in to pick you up.
Yeah, basically like do a sign in and a sign out. That's what schools do.
Otherwise,
I had to do that for my stepdaughter.
I have kids that run right out my door, and I got to grab. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm leaving. Where's your mom? I don't know. She said she'll be here. No, you are inside.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Your mom can come and open this door, or send your little sister to come get you. I don't care. But I can't have a 9-year-old standing out in the parking lot.
Yeah, I saw that at my old school as well.
Yeah.
But don't use it as an aftercare.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's an aftercare, it's an aftercare. I should say don't use it as a daycare, because the people that do drop them, it's like drop them off and go. Now, the only instance where I think it's maybe okay is if they have an older sibling, a much older sibling into their late teens that are like, okay, I'm keeping an eye on little Johnny or
someone
or Jenny,
someone.
Yeah.
Just like a random child appearing at the door, and you're like, where'd you come from?
Yeah. All right. So, Scott, one of the other things that I wanted to know about, like we've talked about some of what you've got going on. Are there other writing projects that you're involved with? And I actually, in the back of my mind, I'm going to hope to I have a friend who's a jiu-jitsu black belt who wrote a fiction book. And I'm like, how come I didn't think about telling him to like maybe reach out to you and talk to you about this? But I believe he's completed the book, but it's the first time he's ever written a book. It's not something that he's not a writer, but was inspired to write this fiction book. So I'm going to talk to him, and then if if it's okay to put you guys together, maybe for just some insight. I don't know how you'd work it. I put people together, but I'm not going to get involved with the intricacies of how it happens. Real quick, your screen is locked up. The Zoom screen is locked up. Are you getting that back there? We've got the sound, but there you go. Okay, was it maybe your side?
Might be.
We're good. We're back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I got
the
internet over here.
So before we ask you to fill us in on other projects, like, is that okay to do? Like, hey, make an intro to somebody who's writing something. Are those things that you're interested in? I'm assuming so, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to talk to anybody. I mean, there's a lot of things that people may not be aware that they can do these days that are my time and my energy are often committed, so I can't work with everybody. But I'm happy to have a converation with pretty much anybody.
Okay. I have to. I'm gonna be talking to him before the end of the week. We have he's a friend. He became a client. He's somebody that has been down here on the podcast several times, and he's. I go to his. He does something with the Hero BJJ retreats in Costa Rica. Not sure if you've heard of those. So I'm going to go back out there in July. This is the second time I'm going. I think I'm going to try to get to one before that, but I'm definitely going to his in July. I've got to talk to him about a few things, and I'll see if I don't know what stage he's at. It feels like he's done with the book, but I don't know that he's gone to publish or he's there. But might be an interesting introduction. And again, it's a jiu-jitsu black belt, so it's a fiction related to martial arts, from what I understand. I haven't looked at it yet. But again, what other is there anything else that you could tell us about projects you're working on?
Yeah, so I've been in the process ever since I recorded the audiobook for Worth Defending. I've been in the process of going back to some of the fiction that I've published and doing audiobook editions of those.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
currently in the process of producing an audiobook version of a short story collection I put out, which hope to be done within by early next year. That should be available. And then I have another novel that I finished a couple of years ago that I'm right now trying to figure out either trying to find a traditional publisher with, or maybe we'll be putting that out in 2026 independently.
Okay.
And then other ideas that are percolating, but those two things are on the front burner.
I did have that thought earlier when you were talking about, like when we were talking about how you got your start and you said you wrote all this stuff. Like, I wonder if there's this new audience for you here now that you've, kind of put out some of these books. Like, again, you're working within at least a couple of these projects, working within the martial arts and jiu-jitsu world, would you have an audience of jiu-jitsu guys and martial artists that might be interested, whether the fiction, again, it doesn't sound like you were writing about jiu-jitsu and martial arts necessarily, but do you have this new audience that's like, hey, that's Scott Burr, the guy that co-wrote this book and wrote this book, and I'm interested in hearing and reading these other things. Is that the thinking process? Is that the thought process?
And I think that has definitely happened. Yeah. Ideally, and I think obviously, one of the things that's so special, such a broad range of people. So, I'm sure there are people in jiu-jitsu who couldn't care less about what I've written, but I think there are probably a lot of people who would connect with it, and hopefully they'll check it out.
So I'll give you a moment also to do anything else that you want to mention, or anybody you want to shout out, anything you have going on, sponsors, anybody you're working with. Now's your time, because we'll start to wrap up now.
Well, the thing I should definitely mention is that I also have a jiu-jitsu gear company.
Okay.
That me and a couple of my students started a few years ago. We do travel gis, so really lightweight gis that pack down really small. Like
what's the name of the company?
Black Market Kimonos. This is my jacket. It's like very packable.
Oh wow.
We just got I got stuff here. Like, we just came out with some new no-gi shorts. Like, I really like these a lot. They have this waistband that's really unique, like elastic in lycra. Like, they don't bunch up like a bathing suit.
Okay.
These are super comfortable.
Very
cool. But I don't know. We have all this new stuff.
He goes, I don't know.
So we have our new no-gi line. We have our kimonos. We have packing cubes, and we got new stuff that we're developing for 2026. So that's blackmarketkimonos.com and at Black Market Kimonos. So
awesome.
If you travel for work, but you like to train and you always want to bring a gi with you, like, we have made the gi for you. It's actually really small. You can throw it in your carry-on. You don't even need to check them. And so
all right.
I think we're pretty good.
Awesome, man.
That, and then people can follow me at Acclaimed Jiu-Jitsu is my jiu-jitsu stuff, ENCLAVE jiu-jitsu.com, and at Enclave Jiu-Jitsu. And then all my writing is, I have a website for that, scottburrauthor.com, and at scottburrauthor on social media. And then lessonsfromthemat.com is, the website for that book and the different stuff that Ben and I have been putting together to go along with that.
Okay.
And of course, worthdefendingbook.com, people should definitely check out if they haven't checked out that book.
And now you've done the audiobook for it as well.
Yeah, the audiobook's available
Very cool.
for that.
Highly recommended. I mean, that's the one that I've the only book I've read cover to cover.
It's the only one.
I know how horrible that sounds when I'm talking to an author
really
to be like, wow, that's the only, but it was your book. So it's why I went out of my way to
say that to all.
I'm honored.
It really, it was funny. I was married at the time, and I would we'd get into bed and, maybe watch some TV or do some other stuff, whatever. Let your minds go. But I would always read for my goal was to read for at least 10 to 15 minutes, and it would always go longer.
He'd be like,
and at least just getting the book done. And I'm not a fast reader. I'm not a speed reader or anything like that. And that's funny. But yeah, I highly recommend it. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through the audiobook for Lessons from the Mat. I was able to, it got a little, I thought I was going to finish it on my trip, but on the plane, I don't know if it was just my earbuds. I needed better. I just had the earbuds. I couldn't hear it with the noise from the plane. Just that. So I was just like, I just wasn't. I thought that was the time I was going to be listening the most. I had a connecting flight. It was an 8-hour flight from, go from Florida to Baltimore, then to Las Vegas. I was like, I'll get this book done quick. And then I wasn't able to listen to it on the plane. So I was, in the car and the Ubers and things like that. So I'm 3/4 of the way through. So, again, highly recommend as well. We'll put all the books on the, we'll mention the books in the podcast. We'll put all the .coms and all that good stuff. But I appreciate Scott, don't hang up, because we're going to take a picture or two by the computer that we're looking at you on, so for promo and to put out for the post. But real quick, thank you to Leo Optics. They give us these really cool glasses. Did I see you in some Leo Optics, Scott? No. Leo Optics, they're a go-to brand for sunglasses and apparel, featuring these really cool, unique bamboo sunglasses, right? So for everybody out there, right, you've got the little red tab there for black belts, but you can buy them like this, or if you request, they will put your belt color on there. They're born in Southern California. Their products embody the BJJ lifestyle that we all know and love. Visit leaooptics.com. That's LEAOOPTICS, leaooptics.com. Use code JJD for 10% off your order, and they also support Academy Safe. Don't forget flowandroll.com, 10% off or 20% off there with JJD as well. Ben?
Oh, me?
Don't forget to give them your coupon code.
I will. First and foremost, as always, if you're in the North Palm Beach area, you want to train with the best team around, American Top Team Palm Beach Gardens, ATTPBG on all platforms, ATTPBG.com. No reason to go long. You know what's up. For Scott's benefit, just so you know, I don't know that if you know this, but he's a commentator as well. He does commentating for Combat Night MMA, which is really big down here in Florida. They do tons of events down here. They're like the premier. They're probably the premier in the
regional,
Southeast,
right?
if not on the East
regional
Coast.
MMA, both amateur and pro fighting organization down here. He's a commentator. So if he sounds like a commentator when he's doing that, it's because he is.
On top of commentary, I'm also a promoter. If you are a kickboxer and you are looking to get involved on a sport level or a point level platform, the IKF has now booked out our entire 2026 year. Our year opening event is January 25th at the Davie Police Athletic League. It is point kickboxing and Muay Thai. If you are looking to get involved, compete, but not have that risk of a full contact or a knockout happening, this is the event for you. It's a great way to step your foot into combat sports or just to keep yourself fresh in between full contact competition. Check out the IKF Fight platform online and register today.
That's a big part of it. I went to the last event we set up for Academy Safe, and what they're not letting you do is try to take somebody's head off, right? 100%. It is truly like you're trying to connect and get points, right?
Just like equal stiffness to like a team sparring. You're getting hit. You know you're getting hit, but
they'll slow it down. The refs would slow it down if they were.
No one should be looking for the finish.
Yeah, you're not trying to knock somebody.
We have, puzzle mats on a gym floor. Yeah. There's no ropes. We're not in a cage. Okay. And we do that on purpose because it's a different style. If we're in a cage, we're in a ring, it's like we're fighting.
I enjoyed myself. It was like kids to adults. It was
we start.
It was fun to watch.
4 or 5 years old, and we go all the way through.
Yeah, it reminds me. Again, like this weekend they did at the Worlds. They did Kids Worlds Gi no Gi, and every once in a while, a little 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid is crying, gets beat up by a girl, or vice versa.
And there's always that one 6-year-old.
There were lots of crying. There were lots of crying, and a lot of me going like, "Oh my God, how old is that kid?" They were just like amazing the way they moved. It's just it's nutty.
Hey, fellow Jiu-Jitsu dummies. Think about this. How well do you know the people who are training your kids? Does your academy run background checks on all staff members, not just the owner? That's why there's Academy Safe. We mandate those checks, plus crucial U.S. Center for Safe Sport certification and concussion training. But we require even more. Our accredited gyms must also have defibrillators on premises, CPR, first aid, and AED certification, security cameras, verification of coach lineage and ranks, and business insurance. Don't guess. No. Demand safety for your family. Find an accredited gym at academysafe.org. Academy Safe, the highest standards in martial arts safety.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Is your business getting lost online? Black Belt Digital Marketing is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps you get found, get leads, and grow. We specialize in local and website SEO, so your business stands out when customers search. Our website SEO makes sure your site loads fast, ranks high, and stays ahead of AI-driven search, so customers find you first. More visibility, more clicks. More customers right when they're ready to buy. Grow your business online with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com or call 9542-204932 today.
So we're going to leave it there. Scott, thank you so much for doing this. Hey, if you are ever, I love talking to you. I really enjoyed this podcast as well as the last time.
Buddy.
If you are ever in Florida, let me know ahead of time if you're going to be down here. We'd love to have you come in. If you're in South Florida, we'll make something happen. Again, usually we're booking a couple of months out. We do 2 podcasts a month. So if you let me know in advance and you're this way, love to have you come in and chop it up. If you know anybody you want to bring with you, that's great as well. But that invite's always open to you. And
beautiful.
I mean, we know we're going to have you back for the launch of whatever's going on with Rickson, and when you launch Chris's book as well, we'd love to have you back on for both of those. Okay.
Love to do it.
All right, brother. Check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. I'm not going to give out my personal IG anymore. Should I? I don't know.
Do you want them to follow you personally?
No.
Then just follow the show. Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. Follow him
Jiu-Jitsu
there.
Dummies. That's it. Thank you for watching and listening, everyone. Peace, love, Jiu-Jitsu.
Peace.
Peace.